Welcome to my mini webinar called What is Authentic Relating? I want to welcome you all here, whether you're an old timer with authentic relating or you're brand new. So I'm going to start off with a question. What is authentic relating? Have you heard that before? Have you heard the term authentic relating? Have you been asked that question before? And if you have, how did you answer it? Now, for myself, I've been in this practice going on 3 years now, and I've answered the question several different ways. I've answered it teaches listening skills. It's a communication approach. It teaches people to have a closer connection. It teaches people how to navigate difficult conversations. But as I dive deeper into these 5 basic core principles, they're practices, and I'm going to share them as they're presented by Jason Diggs, who is the co-founder of Authentic Relating. But as I go into it, one thing I see, it's all of these things: listening skills, communication approach, closer connection, navigating difficult conversations. But the most compelling thing about authentic relating is it's a relational framework. It is relational intelligence. It is a beautiful skill set, relational intelligence. Now, I personally had not heard that term before, and I am committed to making it just as popular as emotional intelligence, cognitive intelligence, sensory motor intelligence, memory intelligence, whatever other intelligences, intuitive intelligence. From my perspective, relational intelligence is very much needed. And so I hope you enjoy this journey. It's 5 basic practices that we will be diving into. Now, when I think of relational intelligence, for me, I don't know how it is for you, but it opens up questions of curiosity. And that's where I'm going to begin. I'm Laurie. I'm a facilitator in training for the Connection Project. I'm going to share a little bit of my story of how I came into authentic relating and how it has impacted my life. I was recently widowed 3.5 years ago. 3 years ago, I got invited to an authentic relating circle, which is basically a group that practices the skills. I was totally clueless. I had been invited from another inner healing group to attend to see if there was any value with it. Needless to say, it so warmed my heart. And for the first year of weekly practices, I began to work through the grief of the loss of my husband. And I quit the other group because I found the connection that authentic relating skills bring compelled me to want to go deeper and study more. I became more effective within the groups that I was practicing with and also in my real life, which was super exciting. Now, I have to say, it wasn't always that way. I am a communication expert. I have 39 years in speech language pathology. I came up through all the assertive communication in the 70s and 80s and 90s. So I'm well versed in communication. But what I wasn't versed in was relational connection. I'm an empathic, touchy-feely kind of person. But as I learned these skills, I began to see in myself where I abandon my dignity, where I collapse in conflict, and I began to change and grow from a heart-centered place. So with that, I am here to explore the basic outline of the 5 practices that lead to increased relational intelligence. Now, what I want you to discover as you go on this journey, that authentic relating practices are a balance. There's a balance part between belonging and expression, a balance between being actively engaged. Let me say that again, actively engaged in listening and communicating in a way that supports connection. It's all about relationship. The object is to develop and maintain a capacity for nourishing connection with essentially anyone. So I'm going to be summarizing the 5 practices as an overview. If this is a relational intelligence skill set and a relational lifestyle you would like to explore, then join me during our free introductory sessions sponsored by the Connection Project. It's free. Come in and join us. Each session addresses one of the practices. And yes, we do practice. The sessions are moderated by either a facilitator in training or our lead facilitator. The Connection Project is based in New Zealand, and we do our sessions online. So at the end of this webinar, I will share with you the information on how to get in touch with us and come along and join the fun. Okay, ready to start. Practice 1, welcome everything. Yes, I said welcome everything. Now, I want you to notice I didn't say tolerate everything. As you welcome your own experience, you increase noticing of tension, of conflict, maybe dissatisfaction, joy, giddiness, fatigue, maybe even sadness, maybe temperature in your body. Are you too cold or too hot? Are you hungry? You simply expand your awareness of how your body is communicating with your thoughts. Now, your full spectrum of emotions are welcome. They're welcomed into your experience. I want you to be aware. I said your full spectrum of emotions are welcome, not your full spectrum of expression. So just to make that clear, we are welcoming all of what is happening in our body in order to deeply connect with ourselves. This is a deeply personal self-reflection, and it's the beginning of authentic relating with yourself first. Welcoming everything is the gateway to the other practices because it focuses on curiosity. When you welcome what's going on with you, with curiosity, it begins to bring harmony to your life. The practice of welcoming our internal experience then leads to increasing the capacity of welcoming another person's experience. So, welcome everything is practice 1. Practice 2 is assume nothing. That's right, assume nothing. It's a practice that expands on noticing. But what we're noticing are the stories that are spinning, the stories we tell ourselves. Now, some of you may know that our brains are wired to tell stories. Okay, you have that mind chatter? Our brains are wired to tell stories, they're wired to make connections, they're wired to organize and complete experiences. Sometimes we get too locked in to the stories. Now, collectively, this neural activity, it drives our nervous system. So, assume nothing invites us to slow down and pause before responding. Now, that pause that delays a response without assessing whether our assumption is true or not, it's designed, assume nothing is designed to slow things down and to focus on what is the story that I am spinning. You step out of the experience and look at it objectively. No judgments, no shame, no changing it. You just observe. And therein, you'll discover connections to your past, maybe judgments of another person. You'll discover your biases. You'll discover what it is you identify with. And the practice expands your connection by being internally aware of your filters and your biases. And it gives you a delay so that you can expand your connection authentically with another person. Because it always goes back to staying curious and checking your assumption by asking, is it true? And that gives way to diminishing any relational roadblocks as you develop closer, authentic connection. Now, how do you diminish a roadblock? Assume nothing challenges your biases and judgments. Once you were aware, oh, I notice I judge people that wear cowboy hats and have long, scruffy beards as being of a certain political class or being of a certain mountain culture or holding certain values. And yes, I may discover my assumptions are true, but I may discover for one person or several people that is no longer true. It has blessed me because I notice that curiosity and assuming nothing has opened up a richness of me desiring connection. So, first practice, welcome everything. Second practice, assume nothing. Third practice, reveal your experience. Reveal your experience is the practice that invites you to be vulnerable, to admit it to yourself and then to another person. So, reveal your experience. Again, you turn inward, you sort through your feelings, your wants, your needs. You do the work inwardly. When you are revealing your experience to yourself, then you can truly relate authentically with others. Now, in essence, you cannot be seen or known by another, truly seen and known by another, unless you reveal yourself to others. Now, it takes courage because it's how you receive, you're receiving also the nourishing feelings that come with being known. That revealing my experience and getting the reflection of certain key phrases from some of my authentic relating partners, I literally felt that nourishing feeling much for the first time in my life. It's like, oh, being seen and heard feels like love to me. So that is a big part. Revealing our experience is what we work on in our practice sessions. And it sounds like this can be something as vulnerable or small. This may seem small in some cases, but this is a good example. I notice when I'm beginning this meeting that I'm fidgeting and feeling nervous right now. And I just want to name that before we get started. When you reveal your experience, it literally relaxes the nervous systems of the people who are listening. We love permission to be vulnerable. So here we go on to practice 4. Let me just say real quickly in a recap. Number 1, we welcome everything. 2, we assume nothing. 3, we reveal our experience. Now, number 4, we own our experience. Yes, we own it. Now, this is the most difficult of the practices. The other practices are recognizing and revealing our internal state. However, when you own your experience, you're taking responsibility for your own emotional growth. Now, this is generally a marker of self-love. Yes, owning your experience, when you have the courage, you develop the capacity and courage, you are actually loving yourself. You stop blaming people, you stop blaming circumstances, you take responsibility for your contribution to the circumstance, your contribution to the conflict, your contribution to the outcome. You own it. You stop playing victim to your own story. And this is where You step up to take accountability, and you bring your own values to the relationship. Now, I will say on the side note, this was life-changing for me because I began to realize that I had not owned my experience with conflict with my adult daughters, conflicts over a past divorce. I had not, I mean, we're talking 20 years, right? 20 years. And I expanded my capacity to love myself enough and to be courageous enough. By the time I got into this, I could free myself up. I could free up the people that may or may not have had judgments against me. So it's been a journey of beautiful reconciliation. Now, practice 5, but let me clip through these others again. First, welcome everything. Second, assume nothing. Third, reveal your experience. Fourth, own your experience. Practice 5, honor self and other. Honor self and other. What does that mean? Honor self and other is an agreement of mutual respect. It's an agreement of mutual respect for yourself and for your listening partner. And this is the root of maintaining the connection. Now, while it may seem challenging, especially during conflict, the ultimate goal is to be consistent in honoring yourself and honoring the other person. When you ignore honoring yourself for the sake of the other person, that's where you get into resentment. That's where you harbor judgments and assumptions. That's where the conflict starts brewing. So we call it losing dignity. We call it collapsing. And we work on these in different topics in the Connection Project. So when you don't honor yourself or honor the other person, that's where you lose authentic connection. And you've heard it described as, oh, we sweep it under the rug, nothing gets resolved. We sweep it under the rug. That if you hear that phrase, it's a clue that whoever is saying it is either not honoring themselves or they're not honoring the other person. Honoring the other's demand, honoring the other, it demands that you remain aware of your assumptions and your internal state. Okay? All of the other practices, the welcoming everything, the assuming nothing, the revealing your experience, the owning your experience, all of those happen. They are integrated. Now, this does not by any means mean that you agree with the other person. You can be starkly opposed to their viewpoint and yet still maintain your dignity in honoring yourself and maintain your dignity in honoring the other. It means you're willing to create a conversation where each of you are seen and heard. And we work on those listening skills, those active listening skills in a variety of ways. And when you honor yourself and you honor the other, it's where you meet dignity and humility. And I can say for myself, it's given me courage. It's giving me openness. It's brought curiosity. I am no longer enmeshed in someone's drama, someone's opinion, someone's maybe their subtle control or the way they're trying to influence me. I'm no longer enmeshed. So I hope that you will be curious enough to explore with us. Now, we're at the end, and this was just an overview of authentic relating. Welcome everything, assume nothing, reveal your experience, own your experience, and honor self and other. Each of these practices is integrated into the whole of our relationship connections and our own relational intelligence. It's skill, and it is beautiful and life transforming. And I speak for myself because I am I'm a living example of how it's working for me. As I said, I would share how you can get connected with us. If you'd like to join us as we practice authentic relating skills, it's free of charge. Join us for our introductory module. You can find us at theconnectionproject.nz. Yes, that's how you know who we are. theconnectionproject.nz. We're based out of New Zealand. However, we are a global online community. It was certainly my pleasure in being of service to you today. I hope to see you soon. Take care now.